Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. So these four females on the screen are females that I've come across in my last trip. I've turned back in the rental car. I had a red Dodge Hornet. I did not pick the color. It seemed to sort of play me out a little bit because a lot of people might think of things in terms of the colors when it was a rental car and I didn't control that. But anyway, so I came across these four females. The first one I came across in Oakland. The second one, the short white female, I came across in downtown Santa Cruz, right on the edges of downtown, on the edge of downtown Santa Cruz. Okay. The third one I came across at Westcliff, and the last one I came across dab smack in the middle of downtown Santa Cruz. So three of them are from Santa Cruz, one's from Oakland, and I was at Lake Merritt in Oakland for the first one. We'll take it one at a time. We'll try to keep this brief. And I see a bunch of people walking by. Okay, I'm preaching and teaching, if you will. I'm telling the truth about God in a way that these people have never heard before. I bring up that Marshall is marital scrambled, and that I, Christ, the top martial artist, and the bridegroom, Christ. You can tell that a lot of people basically believe that what I'm saying is more respectable than what they've ever heard, but they're kind of obnoxious, kind of bratty people. Some people are more sincere seeming, what have you. And here comes this one Ethiopian-looking female. She reminds me of Bob Marley or something, and she has on some kind of a hat that a lot of these reggae people have on. And something about her tells me that I should try to talk to her. She's walking a certain way, what have you. Maybe it's technology. And so I say to her, hey, and it's in my playlist, the part of it. I'll try to put the labels on the other videos as well. Okay, where I try to talk to these females so you can see. I say to her, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? At first she says, sure. She says, sure, okay. And she's like looking at me a little confused, like she's like a cool person. And she's trying to play it safe too because she knows that we're in Oakland, right? But we're in Lake Merritt. There's a lot of people walking by. But things still go down in that area, But it's more or less a kind of, one of the safer places in Oakland. And the other places I made videos, were a lot more dangerous. East Oakland, downtown, a lot more dangerous than where I was there. And so I say to her, I'm going to record this, what have you. And she changes her mind and she says she's not comfortable. That's why she has that kind of confused look on her face, right? That she's not comfortable with doing the interview, what have you. I felt that it was important to kind of put this out there so you can see that, I wasn't able to interview anybody in this last trip, but I tried to talk to many people in various ways, and directly I tried to talk to four females that are attractive. I've been saying this for years. I said, look, I don't get treated fairly by attractive females. Okay, they have an inability to read a situation and say, hey, he's Christ, he's Jesus, he's the top martial artist, this is a great guy, I don't want to miss out on this, right? All of them probably suspected that I thought they were attractive, and it probably influenced their decisions. They're all probably told by the state to not talk to me, and the first one said that she was uncomfortable. The second one said that she had a meeting to go to. The third one said that she's on a time limit. She doesn't have any time for this, right? She's limited by time. And the fourth one said that she has to tend to her business. I guess she owns a business in downtown Santa Cruz. So she's probably a wealthier female. So, and she reminded me of like an English person or something. There's something about her that said that she's from a richer white class of people. Okay. So going to the second one, I saw her, while I was by an LGBT, across the street from an LGBT center, across the street from an apartment complex. I'm standing there, and I've made maybe 6 or 7 videos there, I'd imagine, over the course of the 4 trips. It's one of the spots I'd like to go to. I chose to go to because the amount of traffic and the amount of noise came together a certain way, right? There wasn't that much noise, and there's not that much traffic to which is a double-edged sword, right? So I also made videos in this, in the middle of downtown Santa Cruz, and I caught a lot of flack there. A lot of people were taking shots at me, and it made me angry. The last day of the trip, before I forget, I'm going to put it on the other list, right? I'm put it on the playlist, and I'm put a link to the video on this video. But I made 2 videos in Gilroy. The first one went pretty well. I told myself, hey, I'm just going to make a couple quick videos, and I'm going to be out of here, and I'm going to kind of, show them I can make a nice, calm video. If I'm not provoked, if nothing ridiculous happens, it should go smoothly. But when I went to a different spot in downtown Gilroy, this guy came out with a wind blower. Okay, I mean, I've never seen this in my life, where someone comes out in front of their store with some kind of a leaf blower. And he happens to come out when I'm making my videos, and he comes out like twice. He like stops for a second, then comes out again, or something like that. I forgot exactly what went down. It was something like that. And this one black guy is walking, holding the hands of a Hispanic chick, and I happened to bring up that, God's orders, a Royal African Falcon martial art order in the past, and he was making funny movements, mimicking, doing kung fu, and he said, "Come on, man, please stop," right? Exaggerating the situation, trying to play me out. And his argument was basically something to the effect of, don't go to Gilroy. And Gilroy isn't, the most racist place on the planet or something. There's Hispanics there. There's a lot of Hispanics and whites there, but they don't care as much as you might think about a black person coming around and saying that God's order is a Royal African Falcon martial art order. Okay, so imagine you're in downtown LA or downtown New York or downtown wherever, right? Even in East LA, okay? Now, East LA is different. There, I'd expect a bit more pushback, okay, because the racial tensions that are historically there, but there's not really racial tensions between blacks and Hispanics historically in Gilroy, okay? In terms of prison gangs spilling over, but the Northern Hispanic prison gang is known to be, quite often friendly with black people, but not always, okay? But to make a long story short, it wasn't a big deal. I'm there for a little while, and I'm going to be taken off, right? So the major problem they had was that somebody who's telling the truth about God was going into public and telling the truth, and they're trying to create various awkward situations. They did something somewhat similar in Oakland, but not really. Okay, the people there didn't really mess with me, because people in Oakland tend to be smarter than a lot of other people. They see a black guy who used to hang out with gangsters, who's tougher than everyone around, and they're not trying to test his, they're not trying to test him. They're not trying to mess with him. Okay, so basically nobody in Oakland tried to mess with me, because they tend to be more street smart. In Gilroy, for the most part, they didn't mess with me because they tend to be pretty street smart. In Santa Cruz, they tend to be dumber than a fucking doorknob, okay? So people were saying bitch-ass shit a little bit here and there. This one gay guy drove by, he was a black gay guy, and like he's in a convertible or somewhere, his windows were down, and he's like, "Shut up!" Okay? And I never seen him before in my life. He just wanted to be a bitch, he's a gang stalker, what have you. I wasn't speaking loud at the time, nothing. Okay? There was various incidents, various groups of people walked by, and they'd say things in a way that was alluding to me. One of the first trips, I think, this one female looked like he's a weirdo. She like rolled her eyes in a way that was like, or she did something with her facial expression that said, "What the hell, that's weird," kind of thing. And so I fired back, said, "How the hell are you going to say I'm weird? You're dressed in all black. You're like a gothic chick. And I'm talking about Marshall is marital scrambled and I Christ and the bridegroom. My argument makes sense. Why are the word, I'm breaking it down for her." And they looked dumber than hell. They walked away. I put them in their place. You see what I'm saying? And that's part of why you don't always turn the other cheek. Was I better off not saying anything? No. I set the record straight, and they had to try something else. I resisted the devil, and the devil fled. So when we look at, that second chick again, she looked a lot more attractive until she kind of made a goofy face. Basically, all 4 of those females looked attractive until they made some kind of sorority-ish, groupie, kind of goofy face. Now, I'm not insulting these females. All 4 of them were attractive. I'd love to date them. But them committing to the path of rebelling against God has seriously taken away from their feminine appeal. A woman obeys God. It says in the Bible that, act like a man and obey God. And so it is for a woman. And we see in Paul's letters, there's things that, make it clear that I'm right. I want to keep this brief, so that was that female. The third female, at first I thought she was an Indian female. She had a certain kind of skin texture, a certain way about her, very professional way. Quite often Indians are more professional than other people from various walks of life. It's a long story why that is, right? Kind of, the stereotypes of Asians being good in school, and Indians are no exception. And so I seen her far away. I'm like, man, I'd love to, get on an Indian female on record, an attractive Indian female, responding to me, asking them if they can answer some questions, because I'm pretty sure this person is going to reject me, and I want to cover all the odds and ends, right? And Indians tend to be nice, and it shouldn't be that hard of an experience. I've dealt with them before, and they tend to be very diplomatic for the most part. So I say, this should be pretty easy, but I'm still a little nervous because, I'm not super extroverted. I was a little thrown off and so on and so forth. I say, here it goes, right? And so she kind of looks at me for a second, and it's a little awkward moment. All these moments were awkward, right, initially, but they weren't the end of the world. I'm proud of myself for putting myself out there, and I've interviewed people and so on and so forth. And I think I went 4 for 4 in the other trips, over the last the 3 trips before that. And in this trip, I went 0 for 4 all in one trip. Okay. So everyone I asked to allow me to interview them in Santa Cruz, for example, they let me interview them. There was there was the first old lady. There was, unless I'm mistaken, right? There was the female with the green on, who actually also did some mimicking martial art punches when I brought it up, right? There was the female with the black pants. And I feel like there was a fourth female. Let's see here. Old lady, green, black pants. Yeah. That was that very attractive looking white female. She was the last one. No, well, maybe that was from this trip. No, I think that was the beginning of this trip. So I actually went, if that's the case, I went 1 for 4 in terms of responses. Now again, they're fuming me so make it so I sound weird or something. They try to confuse you. One of the main things that they do is they try to make privileged white guys in social clubs, people in the military, scientists, people with college educations, people who have privileged positions in society in various ways, people who the system's designed to try to make seem better than other people, unfairly, mind you. They try to make it seem like they're the masters at dating. They try to throw the dating coaches and the churches bones and the sex cults, and they try to make someone who's telling the truth about everything seem like an idiot, so they fume me and poison me and try to make it so I sound something that I'm not, which is bipolar and things like that. And crazy and weird and gay. They try all kinds of underhanded techniques, and it is a catastrophic failure. No one believes them. Everyone believes me. I still have yet to come across one person who can effectively and logically communicate to me in a rational and logical way that they believe them and not me on these issues. No one does. They all believe me. You can tell by their response. If everyone believed me, how would they respond? If everyone thought I was an idiot and they actually thought that, how would they respond? And it all lines up. Straightforward. I'm very insightful. I'm very good at these things. I predicted before the first trip that if I ever went out there and put myself out there, that nobody would rally and obey God through me. I predicted years, like in 2021, I put on my wall, on my door rather, and other predictions on my wall, that no attractive female was ever going to obey God through me. Okay, that was my prediction. And it came true. I predicted that they wouldn't respond to all my flyers about the War on Poverty plan, and that came true. I predicted that they wouldn't compensate me, at least anytime soon, and that came true. 3 major predictions I put on my wall and said, I know this stuff. I know people. I know women, they don't know me. There's one female named Annabelle. It's like, you never know until you try. Well, guess what, Annie? I was right. You were wrong. Just like any time I've had a disagreement with a female, I was right. You were wrong. Okay? And your bad judgment collectively has cost me dearly. Like you wouldn't believe. Where you're dating rapists and child molesters and human traffickers and drug dealers and corrupt politicians and all kinds of assorted scoundrel males. Just horrible people, horrible people. I was right, you all were wrong. And every moment you refuse to admit that, it's shame on you that much more. And the people who raised you and the guys who encourage you, saying stupid shit like we just want to follow our footsteps of our forefathers like everyone else. Stupid as hell. Dumb. Dumb, dumb and dumber. So now also notice that the females that I picked were very diplomatic and nice seeming people. I didn't say, hey, let me pick someone who looks like a real bitch. None of them look like a real bitch. All of them look like the types of people who will be polite to you if they reject your attempt to question them about deeper issues on camera, what have you. Or they might have something interesting to say. I also predicted that they would all not answer my questions. Like I didn't predict it like with 100% certainty, but I had a feeling. I said, these people are not going to stop and talk to me, even though we're in public, even though I'm the most righteous person that ever lived, because I know women. I know females. They do not know me. They do not know God. They do not know what the most righteous person in the world ever would look like. They do not have enough information and consciousness to consent to sex in a logical and universally fair and moral way. They just conform. And they don't understand, just like when the interviews, they didn't understand the deeper significance of martial arts and talking to the top martial artist. And I'm going to end by saying this. Okay. If the most attractive female, if you're a guy, for example, if the most attractive female ever, the most righteous female ever, was wearing, just a basic outfit, okay, and she had the best physique for a woman ever, of any race, say she's Chinese, say she's black, say she's this, she's that, whatever race, whatever it would be, if she said to you, can I ask you a few questions? How many of you would be fucking retarded enough to let that pass you by? If I have to be somewhere, hell, here's my phone number. I'll meet you afterwards, period. Now, I'm not saying that I'm angry at them for not doing that, but you have to understand the dynamic here. Females are not good at choosing a mate. That's why there's a 50% divorce rate. Guys tend to keep trying. Oh, shit, she's talking to me. Hey, I like having sex with her. Hey, let's get married. You see what I'm saying? They're the ones who tend to be the people who decide on the relationship. Guys keep putting themselves out there. Females reject them left and right. They're not good at understanding people. They're not good at choosing a mate. They might be good at, being an accountant or being the head of a makeup company or whatever job they do, head of a corporation. They might be a good politician, but they're not good when it comes to responding to the righteous man and shunning the wicked man. Whether they're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, John, Buddhist, whether they have a Native American, no matter what they are, they don't do a good job there. Now, for all you females listening, any females that might be listening, ask yourself, if the most attractive female that ever lived, who's the most righteous female that ever lived at the same time, to keep it simple, if she was dressed a little bit off and she was trying to talk to a guy, a good-looking guy who's single, or she's trying to message him on the internet, would he reject her? No. So why do they understand women and the threats that they're facing more than you do? Say a girl's got to protect herself? Yeah, with that considered. All the time females meet strangers off Tinder, they meet people in the club. The answer couldn't possibly be in every fucking case that a female's got to protect herself and that's why it didn't work out. They must be held accountable for what has happened here. Key in the situation is the righteous are taken away to be spared from evil. And what goes on? There's dragon-ass motherfucking scumbags who are males. There's beast scumbags who are males. There's Judas, Caiaphas. There's all kinds of trash. And you should be very good at seeing who they are by now. When you're 18, when you're 20, when you're 25, when you're 30, when you're 35, you should be very, very good at knowing the difference between me and Obama and Debo from Friday and the Riddler and the Joker and Lex Luthor and the average privileged person. So why aren't you good at it? Why did you fail in my lifetime? Why did you fail where it matters most? When it comes to love, when every cell of your body has been wired for reproduction. It connects to reproduction. Why did you fail? Should you be allowed to trample on the righteous with impunity? Should an arrogant white supremacist, Jewish supremacist, or any other supremacist be able to tell you, hey, they should date in a way that, favors us and pretend that they're in the right? No. But we're talking about the guy who's actually the most righteous person that ever lived, putting himself out there for years, trying to reason with you, and you all shun him. But a female with cerebral palsy, okay, and things like that. Do you not have a problem that goes far beyond any problem that comes to mind when you think on it, when you think about it? You think that you shouldn't give Jesus your number. You think that you shouldn't give the top martial artist ever your number. And some of you are Satanists, like, yeah, because he's Jesus, and why did God do this and this? And you say stupid shit. You're the type of worms, to whoever it may apply, who think that if you stub your toe, that you should blame God and date only scumbag pieces of shit after that. That's the kind of fucking logic that you have. And yes, I'm making a comparison. Yes, it's like it's an example, right? It's a point of reference. You think that you should live a long, wicked life instead of a short, righteous one. That's what you think you should do. And it's with that same judgment that you have sex with pieces of fucking shit that God hates. And then you have their kids quite often. Or you have sex with each other. Why don't you ever give a shit about the good guy? Why don't you ever care about doing what's right? Why do you accept being called a chicken and being a chicken? Why? Why don't you understand the difference between Juliet and you and your friends? Why?